CM Punk is all elite. I want ice cream bars.
It's raining ice cream bars. Let me tell you something. What a time to be a fan.
What a time to be alive.
I have never seen grown men cry in wrestling in a long time.
AEW threw down the gauntlet, and you know what? WWE got nervous, man. Not only is Brock Lesnar back, but Brock Lesnar is back with a new look. He has a ponytail, a scruffy beard, a wardrobe out of Dean Ambrose's closet.
Can I tell you, that man look bulk. The little ponytail is
very
flat. I'm not gonna lie, the farm has done wonders for Brock Lesnar. Look, it's Rematch City, baby.
Rematch City, baby.
The man walketh once again. Becky Lynch is back to squash Bianca Belair.
They screwed it up, Ace. They screwed up this return. My boy Kofi got screwed over by Brock, and now my girl Bianca gets screwed over by Becky.
This was a return that we all wanted to see, a return that we have been waiting for, and somehow, some way, WWE'd it up.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of the Weekly Finisher. My name is Beefy Supreme.
Beef Supremo!
And to my left is the dashing debonair, the D-Town Love, Ace Styles.
What's up, what's good? It's your boy, Ace Styles.
And we have possibly just gone through the biggest wrestling week of all time, the biggest wrestling summer of all time. We got Brock, we got Becky, but most importantly, Ace, CM Punk is all elite. Punk.
Let me tell you something.
Ace, before you tell me something, I want ice cream bars. I want ice cream. Everyone else got ice cream. It's raining ice cream bars. Ace, what's going on?
It's raining ice cream bars. Let me tell you something. What a wrestling. What a time to be a fan.
What a time to be alive.
Of professional wrestling. It's time to be a fan of professional wrestling and sports and entertainment. And I tell you why. We had CM Punky. CM Punky is all elite here on this website, here on this show, here on this podcast. We talked about it. We was connecting the dots. We was trying to pinpoint where it goes. And guess what? We solved the case because CM Punky is all elite, baby.
It's all elite. Man, the crowd was crying. Ace, we had grown men crying in the crowd. That's how much. Can I just say, this is one of the most beloved wrestlers that I have ever seen in my whole life. This man has some loyalty. This man has a loyalty that goes beyond any wrestler I've seen. It's incomparable. It's insane. And now you get rewarded for it. He came out and he didn't have anything planned. He didn't have a big speech. But you know what? I wanted him to keep talking for like half an hour more.
The whole show.
I could have heard Punk through the whole show. Something about AEW that's really cool is I think rebelliousness is cool. And I think I think the NWO and DX and the Attitude Era, that's why it was cool. And I think AEW has that. And CM Punk is the ultimate rebel. This is a guy that didn't want to put up with a machine. This is a guy who knew that he had a following and that people love him. And he said it himself. Right. I left wrestling in 2005. Talk about a diss, baby.
See, I just want to say something right now. Before we even get to that, I just want to say, I want to go back a little bit because we talk about grown men crying. Let's talk about the Road Warriors pop now being no more. It's the CM Punk pop. Everybody was talking about the Road, man, he got a Road Warriors pop. No. That's passe, ladies and gentlemen. The bar has been set. The CM Punk pop is the pop to get.
The ice cream bar has been set.
Exactly. Beef Supreme said it himself. I have never seen grown men cry in wrestling in a long time. And hell, I said on this podcast myself how I didn't even like him that much because he left, because I felt so bittersweet. It was like I broke up with my ex. I didn't want to talk to my ex no more. So it's like your ex came back and said, Daddy, I'm back for you, baby.
Okay, well, I have a bone to pick with you, though. You can't just come back to your ex and say, hey, Daddy's back. I want to know, why are you back on the train? What converted you back?
Because Daddy apologized and Daddy said, I'm going to do it again. And because of that, I said, okay, Daddy.
Well,
okay, Big Daddy. I'm okay, Daddy.
I don't think CM Punk owes an apology to anyone. He said it himself. I can't get better in the place that got me sick. And Punk knew that if he stuck around, that's not good for him. I want my favorite wrestlers to look out for themselves, their health. Ace, I think you owe CM Punk an apology.
Let's break this down. Right? Let's break it down because I feel like you're right. I do owe Punk an apology.
Okay.
And you're right because I feel like we both came together that night on Rampage on Friday night on the biggest event of AEW event, and we talked to each other. I saw him for the first time. A lot of people tuned in. For first-time viewers tuned in, and they said, "Yo, let me check this out," and they did. And why? Because CM Punk left. Right? There was a lot of he said, she said. The doctor said this. CM Punk said this. Cole Cabana said this. ABCD said this. Right? So it's a situation where a lot of people left wrestling after CM Punk left. A lot of people felt sad when CM Punk left. I was one of those people. But you know what? Punk said, hey, you know what, guys? I'm going to cut the BS, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you felt some type of way, I'm sorry, but I had to get better. And you know what?
He didn't say I'm sorry. I just want to say, CM Punk did not say I'm sorry. He said I understand. Don't be twisting your ex's words.
To me, it felt like he was understanding when I came. There was an agreement said. There was unspoken words said between him and the fans. And a lot of people were like, thank you, and we move on. And I said that in a pre-production meeting when it was just me in the chat with me and Beef Supreme and Mayo. Shout out to Mayo on the weekly replay. But we talked about it. We said he acknowledged our feelings, and that was it. It's the same way with Stone Cold left. But not only that, it's the fact that, we live in a WWE bubble where we sometimes just become jaded, and that's exactly what happened with me and Punk.
Oh, okay.
Me and Punk became jaded because of WWE. But hey, he's back. AEW showing the light, and I can't wait to see CM Punk go against Darby Allin.
That's how every relationship gets back together. You got to hear each other. You got to listen to each other. That's what happened. That's what happened. Ace, how does he look? Are you impressed? He did call out Darby. We saw Darby and Sting from the rafters. Are you happy with what you saw?
I'm excited, and I'll tell you why I'm excited. I'm excited because this is the first time in a long time that we're setting up matches, right? This is the first time in a long time that we have brand new matches, brand new stakes, brand new wrestling capacities is going to be shown. I'm excited for what the future holds in AEW. AEW right now is breaking ceilings and breaking glass. If you're not a fan of AEW, you need to start watching right now.
Well, don't watch the Big Show segments, but we got CM Punk, though. Well, again, we got ice cream bars. His T-shirt just took down the website if you try to order it. Obviously, this is a big deal. I want to know on your end, is this the biggest that AEW has gone so far?
This is a turning point. This to me is bigger than Kevin Nash and Scott Hall entering WCW.
Oh, you think so?
I believe so, and I honestly think so, and I'll tell you why. Because the entire world was watching. Ex wrestling fans were watching. New wrestling fans were watching. All eyes were on AEW that Friday night, and even to this day, it's still trending. You go on wrestling Twitter, and people are still talking about it.
Everything's trending, and it showed, man. Like, starting that Friday, it was all about Chicago, all about CM Punk, and they kept the song, by the way. That was really cool. His theme entrance is still a banger. I thought that you could barely hear it, by the way. You said Road Warrior pop. So you think this is the greatest? Do you think this is the biggest pop outside of like?
I think this is the biggest pop of all time.
All time. All right.
And I say that because we talk about Brock Lesnar coming back. We talk about The Rock coming back, Stone Cold. I've never seen a man get a bigger pop than this. Maybe because it was hometown. Maybe because it was 7 years. The Rock's been gone 7 years, but they don't chant The Rock all the time in arenas, and that's something that we really have to understand. When The Rock left 7 years ago, it did leave a dent in the wrestling business. Yeah. But when we talk about CM Punk leaving the wrestling business, that man left 7 years too, and when he did, the entire crowds were still chanting his name.
I think it's a perfect mix. I think he had a loyal following to begin with. And then the way he left, we felt like our boy got slighted. And again, he jumped into the crowd and people want this guy. The Rock left and we move on and we support him. But we knew that CM Punk, it was kind of a bummer to see him not like wrestling anymore because we knew this guy was passionate. This is a guy who's been all wrestling, man. And we try to follow him in UFC. We try to follow him in movies. And we're still down and support him in anything he does. But we knew that wrestling was missing in his heart no matter what he said. And you can tell. So it was great that they sold out a whole arena. They sold out tickets just to see him. It wasn't even officially announced. And they sold out just based on the assumption that CM Punk would show up.
And we got to shout out Tony Khan, right? We have to shout out Tony Khan
Friend of the
because
show,
the man
baby.
does not disappoint. The man was telling us to tune in. The man was saying, he came out and said, trust us. This is just the beginning. And I'm telling you right now, Beef Supreme with extra sour cream, we are about to come in and we are about to show up. AEW is the place to be in professional wrestling.
Like I said, rebelliousness is cool, and AEW is rebellious. AEW threw down the gauntlet, and you know what? As a result of that, the WWE got nervous, man, because we got another big return that happened this week. Brock Lesnar, the Beast Incarnate, is back. He made his debut, his return after SummerSlam, after Roman Reigns laid down John Cena. So I want to know, what do you think about Brock?
It's Rematch City, baby.
Rematch City, baby.
Sleep, rematch, repeat. Eat, sleep, rematch, repeat.
Not only is Brock Lesnar back, but Brock Lesnar is back with a new look. He has a ponytail, a scruffy beard, a wardrobe out of Dean Ambrose's closet. Ace, how scary is this?
The Onion Boy is back. Can I tell you, that man look bulk. The little ponytail is looking very flat. I'm not gonna lie. The farm has done wonders for Brock Lesnar. Look, let me tell you that much. That man came in with a Shawn Michaels strut. And don't get me wrong, he looked great. He looked phenomenal. The little onion head was great. But let me tell you something. That don't mean nothing. Because this match, this whole situation was not good. I saw it coming. It was predictable. And I tell you why.
Oh my God. Oh, why are you like this all the time?
I almost felt deflated.
Wait, what? So why? Like,
and I'll tell you why.
Badass, man.
And I'll tell you why. We go from the powerful CM Punk coming back.
Yeah.
And what a pop that was.
Yeah.
To almost a predictable and a deflated SummerSlam that legitimately took my high, took my adrenaline, and said, you know what? ¿Sabes qué? It's Rematch City, baby.
Okay, well, before we go on to like the matches that you obviously were not a fan of, why is Brock Lesnar not enticing you?
I think it's because we've seen it before. I think it's because it's been 7 long years, and I'm saying it's 7 long years.
So we don't like returns unless they're 7 years?
No. What I'm saying is how it almost feels like Edge, right? Edge has come back.
It was a great return. Did you hear that crowd when he returned?
I'm sorry, but it's the same thing.
I'm sorry. When Edge returned at the Royal Rumble, it was a huge pop.
I understand what you're saying. And I'm not talking about Edge. I'm talking about Brock Lesnar. I feel like the first time was great, but after a while, it's just a nostalgia act. And I don't, it's not like a big pop for me anymore.
But Brock Lesnar's not a nostalgia act. Brock Lesnar constantly comes back every year.
But that's what I'm saying. Once it's
that's not a nostalgia act. Like, he's part of the roster.
But that's what I'm saying. When it's constant, it's not a surprise anymore.
So you're not surprised that Brock Lesnar's back?
No, because I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of called it when I was watching the match.
You know what? You talk about CM Punk. You talk about being jaded. Is it possible you become too jaded? Should you stop watching?
Well, I at this point, and I'm gonna keep it all the way a buck. I think last night during the SummerSlam, it got to the point where I was legitimately booking the matches as they went on.
But that's the problem. You're not supposed to watch wrestling that way, Ace. You're supposed to sit down, get some popcorn. I ordered some pizza this weekend.
Sam, when you know the story, when you read a story and you know the story from beginning and end because it's the same story all over and over again, what else can you do?
You read it again because it's so cool. Are you saying that
isn't cool though? That's the problem. This one isn't cool because this is a situation, right? This proves back to what you were saying. WWE has nobody left for Roman Reigns.
They don't. But there's a history here. So Brock Lesnar looks badass, by the way. This man, he no longer has USDA regulations behind him. He looks fucking bulked. Like, this guy is ready to take on Roman Reigns. He looks the biggest he's ever been. It's crazy. And there's history here. Their match at WrestleMania 31, in my opinion, one of the best main events, and it overperformed. And their matches afterwards have been good. So if there is anyone that has his number, it's Brock Lesnar. And Paul Heyman knows this. That's why Paul Heyman joined Roman Reigns, because he knows these two are powerhouses. And there's history here to make a compelling story. What is there not to like?
I just feel like I've seen this before, and I there's nothing in there that allows me to sink my teeth in. And I'll tell, and I, but, and that's just me from a fan perspective. But if we look on the flip side of this, Roman Reigns is about to be a god.
Well, no, Roman Reigns is already the head of the table. He's had the championship for a year.
No. You don't understand, Beef Supreme, with a little bit of extra sour cream. You don't understand. Roman Reigns right now is arguably going to be the greatest superstar in WWE history. And I'm telling you right now.
John Cena dominated for a decade.
I'm sorry, but the fact that Roman Reigns is about to beat John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
But see, that's your problem. I'm talking about Brock Lesnar, and you're already getting ahead of yourself.
And that's why I'm excited, because that's the only thing that gets me excited.
You have a problem with your viewing habits. I think, you know how you said you broke up with your ex and you didn't like her, and so CM Punk left a bad taste? Right now, you and WWE are in a broken relationship, and you need to work on yourself.
It's a toxic relationship.
It's a very toxic relationship.
And it's their fault.
If you cannot enjoy a bulked up Brock Lesnar coming back, after John Cena just returned last month, after Edge just returned, after all these people came back and delivered great matches against Roman, and you're not excited, it's not you, it's you.
No, it's WWE. But that's a whole different story. And I'll tell you why it's WWE when we go on to the next episode. Before we even get to that, I just want to talk about Roman Reigns about to be a guy. And can we talk about how John Cena has become the Hulk Hogan?
But no, see, that's my problem. Okay, obviously you're not into Brock Lesnar. Let's talk about Roman Reigns and John Cena. This match, in my opinion, greatest match I've ever seen. This match was amazing. I like it when wrestlers step up and they deliver, in my opinion, match of the year. A quality match. The fans were chanting, "This is awesome." Like, what an amazing match. But you are not feeling all these returns. So what the hell, Ace?
Because I like I said before, Roman Reigns is being fed to become the next god. He is God in WWE. The fact that this man went in there, right? We look at the buildup, right? Let's go back and look at the buildup, right? We talked about it on the show, right? It was an I would give it an okay buildup. I would say it was okay, but we go back and we talk about John Cena, literally beating in the promos with Roman Reigns. And you said it here on this show before. Roman Reigns doesn't need to do that. And he proved it to us this Sunday. This past Saturday. This Roman Reigns went out there. I'm sorry, I'm still stuck with the WWE on Sunday. But Roman Reigns went back out there and he legitimately, Cena had the upper hand, but Roman Reigns was countering. And by the second core of the match, Roman Reigns looked dominant. Roman Reigns looked like he was elevating into a Super Saiyan 3 or Super Saiyan 4. And if y'all don't know that reference, go watch Dragon Ball Z.
But that's my thing. Roman has looked like that all year. Roman put over the Usos. Yes, he has. Roman's match against Roman Reigns against Jey Uso, that was top quality storytelling.
But that's Jimmy Uso, though.
No,
that's not on the same caliber as John Cena.
But that's my point. Roman Reigns at this point doesn't need anyone. Roman Reigns can make anyone look special. The fact that you have John Cena, who hasn't missed a step, by the way. John Cena looks phenomenal.
I agree.
That's a perfect recipe. The fans were chanting, "This is awesome." Like, it was quality match. Like, by far one of my favorite matches ever. But I want to take a step. You said John Cena is the next Hulk Hogan. What the hell are you talking about?
I'm saying the way John Cena almost felt booked. It reminds me of an old when we were getting the new generation back in the early '80s, and Hulk Hogan was still trying to become was still trying to be each of vitamins, each of prayers, and Vince McMahon said, "I have no need for you." If for those of you who are on Twitter, you saw at the end of the match, John Cena was fed to Brock Lesnar, got 8 German suplex and then F5, and then bye-bye Cena. right?
You make no sense with your history. John Cena is not being fed to anyone. John Cena is his
John Cena was fed to Roman Reigns, fam.
He wasn't fed. They put on a classic match. This is
No,
the problem
I'm sorry.
I have.
John Cena was fed to Roman Reigns.
This is the problem I have with the Navarro family. You guys start calling everyone a mid-carder if they're not in the main event. You start calling someone a jobber if they don't get an entrance. All of a sudden, if John Cena loses a SummerSlam main event match against Roman Reigns, he's being fed? What the hell do you guys want, man?
Because, fam, if you don't understand the booking that WWE creates, I don't know what else to tell you. It has been in the annals of SummerSlam that John Cena... Did I just say annals? I'm Kenny Omega right now. Damn it, I blame Kenny Omega because I just watched a video of him.
John Cena is in the annals of history. But here's the thing.
Damn you, Kenny Omega, you're rubbing off on me.
Ace did an attitude John Cena did an attitude adjustment from the top rope that was phenomenal. How are you so obsessed with categorizing
and Roman Reigns kicked out?
But that's
and Roman Reigns kicked out.
Roman Reigns, you're so obsessed with wanting perfection that you don't take the time to enjoy.
There's no perfection, fam. I've already.
What are you talking about? Did you not enjoy this match? Did you not enjoy this match?
Yes, it was. I already said. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is, John. Yeah, it's a great match, but then this is my thing. This is where I feel like you become jaded because you're like, okay, yeah, it's a great match.
I'm in a toxic relationship all over again. I'm in a toxic
relationship. Saying, oh, it's a great match, and then you go, oh yeah, it's a great match. Okay, let's rinse everything for John Cena. We're done there. Let's bring him back in 5 years, and then we'll rinse him again.
But who said we're done?
Where does John Cena go from here?
Stop predicting. No one's done. I think that's your problem. You start going, oh, where does John Cena go next week? What's going to happen with John Cena next month? Can you just enjoy SummerSlam for God's sake? John Cena looked impressive. He hasn't missed a step. He has a weird, funky hairdo, but and that shirt, that Super Mario t-shirt, that is fly AF. My goodness.
CM Punk did it first, ladies and gentlemen.
CM Punk did a lot. And by the way, can I just say, obviously, all of this feels like a reaction. Brock Lesnar coming out, having to stare down against Roman after he just beat John Cena. This feels like a reaction to CM Punk, no matter what they say. It is. No one's denying that. But even when WCW was better than WWE, if the product is cool, it's cool. You think Stone Cold versus The Undertaker, like fighting every week on Raw, was exciting? No. But you know what? Every now and then you get gems. And this was a gem, Ace.
And it was a great gem, but I also feel like you forget that as a viewer, as a watcher, you always want to know what's next. And I feel like you forget that. Because the prime example is CM Punk, right? CM Punk came back, and what did he tell you? I'm going for Darby Allin. We got our what's next, right?
Yes, we got our what's next because we need that match. But let me tell you something. Do you know what's next with Miro? Do you know what's next with Hangman? Oh, you do? What's next for Miro?
He just said himself he's gonna go against Eddie Kingston.
Again, thank you. Like, come on, man. We don't.
You just answered my question.
We don't have specific.
It's really not that hard.
Eddie Kingston hasn't fought with him. Like, we don't have anything. Like, you kind of have to enjoy the product in its moment and just have fun.
And that's the problem. That's the problem. When you enjoy it at its moment, then you're willing to accept it and be like, okay, it's all right, and then we move on.
That's not okay. Okay.
That's exactly what you're saying.
I'm saying enjoy the now, because we watch wrestling to enjoy ourselves, right?
Yes.
And if you're not enjoying
and I enjoyed myself.
Well, there you go. That's all I wanted to hear is you enjoyed yourself.
Lord have mercy. All I'm saying is John Cena became the Hulk Hogan, and that's all I want to say about that. But before we even get to John Cena, I told you how I became deflated, and I tell you why. Because the man walketh once again, and Becky Lynch is back to squash Bianca Belair.
Bianca got squashed. Oh, boy. And see, here's the thing, Ace. Here's the thing. That's why you enjoy the good. You and I both know that Breaking Bad is the greatest show of all time.
But we have to enjoy the moments, right? We have to enjoy the moments. We have to accept that moment of Bianca Belair being squashed.
No,
that's enjoy it.
No, that's your problem. If something is wrong, you call it out. But when something is good, you gotta give it its props.
I gave it its props.
At the end of the day, yeah, Brock Lesnar coming out was fun, no matter what, like whether we saw it a million times before. It was fun. Becky Lynch coming out was fun, by the way. Can I just say, them promoting Bianca versus Sasha to the very last second, with an epic package. And then I'm excited only to not deliver, them knowing that Sasha's not even in the building. That is a bad move. That was carny AF. I did not enjoy that. So for Becky to come out, everyone got excited. I put my phone down. I was about to complain on Twitter. I said, okay, you got me with Becky. And then they screw it up again. That's my point. You got to give the props to good. And then they screwed it up, Ace. They screwed up this return.
I want to, and again, I'm telling you this because I said this before, right? I said when I was watching SummerSlam, I felt deflated. This is why I felt deflated. And again, and this is why I keep trying to tell you why I can't get invested into WWE. And it is a toxic relationship because every single time I invest in a new character of WWE, they somehow, some way ruin it for me. And they completely just rip my heart out and say, no, worry about it. We're moving on, right? If you are a fan watching this product, right? If you were watching from WrestleMania's buildup all the way to SummerSlam, right? And you are fully invested with Bianca Belair. You saw her take a picture with Megan Thee Stallion. You saw her win an FC. You saw all the situation. And then she gets beaten by a returning Becky Lynch, not only by her signature, but with the Uranagi in 30 seconds? Uranagi.
My boy is being messed up. 30 seconds. But Becky Lynch, can I just say, Becky Lynch came back. She got pregnant. She raised a family. Everything's great. But Bianca carried the brand since WrestleMania, man. She's been working with nothing. She got Carmella, Selena every week. She has nothing to work with. And this is how she gets rewarded. You're right. This is a bummer. If you've invested in her, a terrible decision. This is stupid. This is dumb. And honestly, it makes you not like Becky Lynch. Like, why would I root for her?
And I don't want to take away from Becky Lynch because again,
I do. No, she could have. No. Becky could have said, "This is wrong. I'm not doing that."
But you have to But you have to understand, right?
I don't understand anything. She could have spoken up.
You're right. You're right. And even Nikki Bella went online and she said that she did not like the match. And I understand what you're saying. This is in a way of them uploading this and the way of them understanding what's happening. This is arguably this was a return that we all wanted to see, a return that we have been waiting for, right? And somehow, some way, WWE'd it up. and it sucks because as a fan of Bianca Belair, where do you go from here? Because
where do you go?
You don't. And again, you talk about you gotta live in the moment. You gotta take it one day at a time.
Yeah, live in the moment. Don't mock the great advice.
It don't work like that, Mr. Beef Supreme, with a little bit of extra sour cream. And I'll tell you why. Because where do you go from? Becky Lynch came in, Carmella came in, Becky Lynch said, give me one moment, whooped the hell out of Carmella, boom, she's no more, and then went in there, did a couple moves, Uranagi Bianca Belair, and said, who's next?
I don't think this has ever worked for anyone. WWE has this mentality that it's a shocking type of return that people will love. And, I was talking to my wife at home, like, when Daniel Bryan lost to Sheamus at WrestleMania, that was the beginning of the Yes movement. People started because they were already rooting for him that night. And it only kept going further because they keep pushing you. If you like someone, you're right. If you're invested and you don't get that person, you're going to get mad and you're going to get frustrated and you're going to keep pushing for that. That's how Daniel Bryan got big. Luckily, it worked great for him. But my boy Kofi got screwed over by Brock. And now my girl Bianca gets screwed over by Becky. This is wrong, man.
And again, it goes to show you why, and I said this again, why it's hard for me. And you said again, maybe I should start watching. Maybe I should, because you go by and I'm being every week.
You got to do the show.
You're right. I did do the show, but what I'm telling you is again, as a fan, how do you can sit there and continue watching this show and say, hey, you know what? I love it when they did this to Bianca. Beef Supreme with extra sour cream said himself, you have to call out what's bad. And this is bad. This doesn't have the cheese I wanted. I want a Gouda. They gave me something different.
You didn't get Gouda. Honestly,
I didn't get my Gouda.
It's not even that hard, man. You have Bianca beat up Carmella, beat her up like in a minute or two because she's already done it anyways. And then you have Becky come out. They have a stare down. That's it. And then we have another epic stare down at SummerSlam. Like you said, you want to see what's next, right? That would have worked. It's not even that hard. My girl got screwed over.
Did you see that pen? Did you see Beef Supreme with that pen?
I got to credit her producer. She has that pen. That was her.
Oh, well, then there you go. Our Emmy winner producer credited with that pen.
That was our pen. But the pen did steer right for the match of the night, Ace. Edge versus Seth Rollins. What a great match. I dare say Edge's best match since he returned. This has been a fantasy match for a long time. WWE had a fantasy questionnaire a few years ago asking, who do you want to see Edge take on in the current roster when Edge hadn't returned yet? And Seth Rollins was on top of that list. And you know what? This delivered. We got to see a Brood type of entrance. Phenomenal. How is Edge part of such two classic entrances? And how is Edge still so good after 4 decades? This man was killing it in the 90s, killing it in the 2000s, killing it in the 2010s, and now in 2021 puts on a clinic. I kind of want to see a rematch at Extreme Rules.
Everything you just said, I agree with. This was the match of the night for me. This was the Edge I remembered. This was the Edge I was rooting for. This is the Edge we should have gotten when he first returned. My God almighty, did he look amazing. The storytelling in that ring, the psychology in that ring, he put everything to Edge light, right? That was the storyline, right? And notice how it was. And notice how Edge was fighting in that match. He was throwing everything to Seth Rollins because in a way, Edge acknowledged Seth to be an Edge light. And in doing so, they pulled on an incredible match that, in my honest opinion, should have been the co-main event of SummerSlam because that match to me was the highlight of SummerSlam. That in and of itself was a 5-star match in my book.
Honestly, that woke up the crowd again. And some of his moves, you're right. Edge was really good when his back is against the wall. And that spear that he delivered through the ropes to the outside, it reminded me of his classic match against Mick Foley at WrestleMania. Yep. He has these classic moves that every now and then come off with a sense of desperation. And Edge has always had that feeling. Both Edge and Christian have always wrestled that way. And it's kind of cool. And so when you put that talent against Seth Rollins, who, by the way, right now is a bit underrated. Edge has gotten his props fighting against Roman Reigns, headlining WrestleMania. But my boy Seth Rollins got screwed over. He was stuck dealing with the Mysterio family for months. Like, this just shows, like, let's elevate these guys. And by the way, they're on SmackDown. SmackDown is loaded right now. So I don't know.
SmackDown, USA right now is getting the short end of the stick. SmackDown has Brock Lesnar, Becky Lynch, Edge, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, the Usos, New Day.
Who does Raw have?
Goldberg.
Those are your words. I like Goldberg.
They got Goldberg. Well, we're not going to be talking about Goldberg. Let's talk about the man who punched Goldberg and went toe-to-toe with Goldberg. I don't know if he punched Goldberg, but, you know. I'm taking it all the way back to AEW where the big boys play. Hey, you got that reference? We are talking about Chris Jericho. He was on the final straw on the last leg, going on the labors of Jericho. He had no music, no Judas effect. He was going to go against MJF for the last labor. And let me tell you something. The acapella was not enough. No, sir. It was not enough because Chris Jericho lost. Because MJF said, it's my time now, buddy. And I'm taking the reins this past night on AEW Dynamite.
Well, Chris Jericho had to go through all these steps to take on MJF. He delivered some classic matches that we've gone through every week here. And you're right. Chris Jericho went toe-to-toe with Goldberg behind the scenes because he felt like you got to respect the game. You got to respect the wrestlers behind the scenes. Right. And Chris Jericho has always been very outspoken, very good mind in wrestling. And that good mind has now been passed on to MJF. MJF ended up winning. We'll talk about credibility. You have Jericho beat all these guys 4 weeks in a row, and then he loses to MJF. MJF's stock is high right now. He didn't care if the crowd was singing. He didn't want any of that. MJF is here for business, baby.
Yeah, this to me was, we talk about how we don't have a lot of baby face or like white meat baby faces against a red hot heel. We got that in AEW. We have that in this match between MJF and Chris Jericho. This was everything. This was the culmination of a feud. This was a culmination and honestly a coronation of MJF becoming arguably the greatest heel in AEW as of right now.
That's nice.
Okay,
That's nice.
That was the rub that we got. Chris Jericho came out there. There was a great match. It was a main event of Dynamite. And when I tell you that MJF looked like $1,000,000, he looked like $1,000,000.
He did. And let me tell you something. Jericho knows. We've said this before. He knows wrestling. The fact that they set this up to have the trust in that crowd to carry the match, because Jericho isn't the same Jericho that he used to be. But you know what? He knows in-ring psychology, and he knows how to deliver a great match. And that crowd, from beginning to end, they knew they needed to rise up, and they did. They sang a cappella. They delivered a great entrance, and you know what that does? That hypes up your wrestlers, man. Jericho was ready to go. MJF was ready to go, and that's what leads to great quality wrestling. Thank you, MJF. Thank you, Jericho, and thank you, AEW.
And again, and I'm just going to end it with this. After this week of a wrestling filled weekend, I have to say the line in the sand has been drawn. AEW is pro wrestling and WWE is sports and entertainment. And that's all I got to say about that.
You know what? This week showed exactly we were given both products, and this tells you exactly what you want to see. You either pick this side, you're either a Pepsi person or a Coke person. And it's up to you, man. It's up to you.
And I'm a Pepsi.
You're a Pepsi person.
I'm a Pepsi.
All right, baby. It is time for the question of the week.
Tell me what it is.
We talked about whose summer is this. We saw Becky. We saw Brock. We saw CM Punk, Ace. Whose summer does this belong to? Whose summer is it for 2021?
Let me tell you some. Even though we had SummerSlam, even though we had Brock Lesnar, and we had Becky Lynch, we had all these people, we had Mario Lopez, we had all these people show up. The number one man,
Tiffany Haddish.
And we had Tiffany Haddish. The number one man who continued to trend, was still raking the numbers, and was still the most talked about. CM Punk.
Oh, boy.
It is the summer of Punk, whether you like it or not. John Cena came back. He's an afterthought. Everybody else is an afterthought. Why? Because this Wednesday night, when CM Punk comes back, they're all going to be watching. All eyes are on CM Punk.
I think you're completely right, man. Look, competition is always good. I like that things are spicy again. Obviously, whether you're happy with some of the stuff WWE is doing or not, the point is, there's definitely some effort there. Brock Lesnar and Becky coming back is the direct result of CM Punk, like we said. And in fact, there have been some videos of people showing people behind the scenes in WWE watching AEW. We know everyone watches each other, but the fact that it's so out there, I don't even think mainstream media is as up to date, knowing how much fans are into AEW and how big we're about to launch. This is a whole new level, a new direction for AEW and for wrestling in general. And that is why I agree with you. This is CM Punk's summer. CM Punk is about to carry this company to new heights. It's only going to get better from here. This is the summer of Punk, baby.
And that's all we got to say about that. But let us know in the comments below. Let us know, who does the summer 2020-21 belong to? And is the summer already over? Because as a producer was saying, he was saying the summer's already gone. So technically, is summer truly over? We don't know. Ask us below, and then we'll figure out if we can figure it out.
Call it CM Punk's autumn, baby.
There you go. Call it CM Punk autumn. But before we let you go, before we sign off, I do want to tell y'all one thing. Be sure to like and subscribe this video. Make sure you hit the notification bell so when you know when another new episode is up and running. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you interact with us. We do interact with you guys. So when you leave a comment, we will talk to you guys back. Be sure to follow each and every one of us at Beef Supreme and at Styles Days and at The Weekly Replay. We are live tweeting all the time and we are watching wrestling. And besides that, make sure to follow the channel. But before you do that, before everything else, let me tell you something else. Be sure to follow this podcast. That's right. This show is on a podcast. That means whether you are in the gym, whether you at your mama's house, your daddy's house, your bald-headed granny's house, whether you are milking the cow, or whether you out there with Brock Lesnar out in his farmhouse, you can listen to the Weekly Replay and the Weekly Finisher only on all of the social media podcasts. That's Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, anywhere you get your Amazon, anywhere you get your podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to listen. What more can I tell you?
What more? And we are an inclusive group. We are not like Roman's table. All of you are always welcome to sit at our table. We appreciate you guys. Ace, our beautiful producer behind the scenes. Everyone, we'll see y'all next week.
See you next week. Peace.
Bye. Bye.